My original audience was women. That really narrows it down, doesn't it? That's half the world. I took that 8 billion and decided to make it 4 billion. That was really specific, right? But I didn't know. I knew that I wanted to do coaching and I wanted to help women. What I have finally discovered is that I need to meet people where they are and not where I want them to be. It's going to take practice and saying, I like this, I don't like this. People respond to this, they don't respond to that. You tweak and change and grow till you finally get to the place where you say, oh my gosh, I think I've hit the mark.
Why are we taking the time to focus on audience research, a step that a lot of very successful creators skip when they're just starting out? Why waste time testing the waters when you can just jump in and start swimming? You probably want to get right into making content because that's what's fun. It's the reason you got into this work. When you talk to successful creators and ask what they wish they'd done sooner, building a strong understanding of their target audience tops the list. When you're getting started, making content feels like the most important step toward building an audience. But as soon as your work starts getting noticed, you'll run into other questions. How do I keep growing? What products should I sell? How do I get sponsors, and which sponsors are a good fit for my work? Some creators spend months and months building premium, high quality, high price point products that nobody buys. That's why this module is about learning your target audience. You don't have to figure this out overnight, but starting with this makes it easier to understand who you're creating content for, what content matters to them, and how to listen to your target audience so you know exactly what to say with your content. This approach can ultimately turn your content into a business that brings in more people and more revenue. A few hours of work here can save you literally hundreds of hours of wasted effort later. Plus, it's fun. When you work on audience research, you'll hear real emotional stories from the people you want to help. You'll have aha moment after aha moment, and a lot of fear and doubt goes away because you build confidence that what you're saying is what people need and want to hear. So where do you start your research? First, you put together your best guess. Right now, who do you think is the best fit for your content? This can be an educated guess based on observations you've already made about your audience. Then you go out into the wild and look at what real people have to say so that you can test your ideas and get more information from exactly the people you want to reach. If you've already started to publish, the easiest way to start doing research is by looking at who is naturally drawn to you, like Podia creator Valeria Hernandez, who noticed there was an audience she was naturally attracting.
I noticed a trend that a lot of my clients were women of color, and they were experiencing very similar issues. So that's when I realized, hey, this could be like a really cool subset of people that I serve. And me being Latina, I understand what they're going through. And I also can speak to like specific things that they would be struggling with that maybe other people wouldn't. Even though I say I'm a health coach for women of color, I still serve white women. I still serve men too. So it's not that I am ever pushing anyone away. But I had a business coach who was really encouraging, letting me know, like, you found your group, you found your people, and it's important to speak to them because not a lot of other people are speaking specifically to them.
You may also be creating content that inherently appeals to a specific group of people, which makes the job of audience research a lot easier, like Asha Downs, who identifies with her audience based on a common struggle.
When I was 12 years old, I had my hair chemically relaxed for the first time. It was almost like a rite of passage. Something else I remember is when I was a child, wanting to have longer hair and being told, oh, you can't grow long hair because Afro hair doesn't grow long. I came across a comment under a YouTube tutorial that was saying, well, look at this woman, rustic beauty. She's got really long Afro textured hair. You actually can grow long, healthy Afro hair. And I just thought, what? You can? I had no idea. I checked her out. Turns out she had hair that was very similar in texture to mine. And it was really long and lush. And then I began to unlearn and relearn how to take care of natural hair. And that's what I was documenting on my YouTube channel.
Last step before you go out into the wild. If you had to give an answer right now, what would you say to these 3 questions? What problem or struggle do you solve? What specific groups of people experience that problem or struggle? What specific groups are most similar to your former self? Write down a few sentences for each, and then let's go out into the world. Once you have an idea of what you're looking for, it's time to go find examples of specific people dealing with the problems you solve. If you want to build an audience, and especially if you want to build a business, you'll need to hear what your potential audience struggles with in their own words. Podia creator Joseph D'Amico is a classical piano instructor who was creating content for both students and other teachers. He used what he learned during podcast interviews to discover an audience in his niche that wasn't being served.
I've been on multiple podcasts with all kinds of different teachers and content creators that are serving teachers. I just feel like they're so well served. I feel like I would have to make so much new, unique stuff to top what already exists. I just don't want to. Yet on the student side, no one's doing what I'm doing at all. It's an almost untapped market. The people that I'm competing against don't serve classical musicians at all. They just serve like 4-chord songs and minimally complicated popular songs and not really focusing very heavy on written music, as where I'm like gonna give you a real piano education and save you thousands of dollars.
Casey Richardson learned a ton about her audience through 5-minute one-on-one calls.
I went to all of my social media platforms and I said, hey, I'm building a course to help Black women understand business management. If I can talk to you for 5 minutes to ask questions, let me know. Now, I figured that anybody that set up a call with me, they were my target audience. And so I had those 5-minute calls, literally just asking them things like, what keeps you up at night? What is your biggest fear? And where do you want to be? Right. And I would just repeat back to them exactly what they said. And they're like, oh my gosh, you're reading my mind. I feel so seen. Right.
80% of the women Casey spoke to on those initial calls eventually converted to customers. That's huge. What do these stories have in common? Real conversations with real people. When you give people the space to share their struggles in their own words, it becomes possible to make content that leaves people saying, oh my gosh, you're reading my mind. It can feel intimidating to strike up conversations, especially if they're with people you don't know. While you're working up to that, there is another way you can hear from real people. Your audience is leaving comments, having discussions, writing book reviews, and generally talking to each other online in ways that are easy for you to drop in on. Some of the best ways for you to find the exact words your audience uses to describe their problems are looking for other creators who serve similar audiences and seeing the types of comments people leave on their work, visiting forums like Reddit and online communities to look for questions and people venting. And my personal favorite, look up popular books on your topic and read the reviews on Amazon. You'd be surprised at how descriptive people are about how the books help them and what other information they wish the book had included, which is a great source of ideas for new content. As an example, let's say you want to make content for people who want to become writers. You can go to Amazon and look up a book about writing like Stephen King's On Writing and check out the reviews. Some of the best ones to look at are the 3 or 4-star reviews because they're generally positive, but can also include ways the book fell short of what they wanted to get out of it. Like this one that says, virtually all the writing advice is common knowledge, meaning that when you get to the end, you'll feel like you had seen all of that writing advice before. This is good in the sense that a profoundly successful and prolific writer is validating some of the basic rules of writing good fiction. But on the other hand, if you're looking for new, specific, detailed advice on how to be a better writer, you may find that lacking. What this review tells you is that there's an opportunity for writing content that offers new, specific, detailed advice on how to be a better writer. Or check out this one. I wish he would have explained more about where he gets his ideas and what makes for a good story idea in the first place. This tells you there's an opportunity to make content around a specific aspect of writing that isn't covered in King's book. This might lead you to research other books like the acclaimed The Artist's Way by Julia Cameron with a review that says, the content of this book itself is really cool. The activities are great and super interesting. I don't enjoy the writing itself. The author is very long-winded and often uses 5 examples to explain one simple point. This can be 2 full pages of reading just to get to the one little point. This presents a great content opportunity if your style of content is more straightforward and to the point. Even after doing this research and gaining a better understanding of who you're trying to reach, it can still take time to find your biggest fans, and that's normal. Check out this encouraging metaphor from Becky Mullenkamp.
When you go to the eye doctor and they're like, is this one clear or is this clear? And you keep doing that. And then eventually you're like, I think this is the prescription. I can finally see clearly. That's what it has felt like for me. And that takes time. As much as I wanted in the beginning for it to not take time, and I kind of had this like noise coming at me from the online space that it shouldn't take time, I sort of think it has to take time for most people. I think that just takes time. And guess what? I'm here saying I think I finally hit the bullseye. A year from now, I'll probably be like, I can't believe I thought I had hit the bullseye. Like, it will probably continue to change. That's what it looks like.
By now, you may be feeling ready to get out there, experiment, and have conversations. But before you pick up that phone or start drafting those DMs, you'll want to check out the next lesson in this module, where you'll learn what exactly to listen for. So when it comes time to make content, you'll know exactly what to say to make your audience feel like you're reading their minds. Hey there, if you're watching this course on YouTube, I wanted to let you know that you can get the full experience of this course for free at podia.com/get-noticed. You get access to all the worksheets, guides, and additional resources, and you get to have conversations with other creators who are also taking this course. Again, just sign up at podia.com/get-noticed.